The market was alive with strange sounds and brighter lights than any human city could imagine. Hundreds of alien traders shouted their prices, their voices echoing against the high glass walls of the station. Smells of spice, oil, and burning. Metal filled the air, mixing into something both rich and sharp. And in the middle of it all walked a single human, his face calm but his eyes sharp. He was tall compared to most species here, his steps heavy against the smooth floor. The aliens watched him as he moved, some with curiosity, others with fear. Humans were rare in this sector, and each one carried a reputation that traveled faster than ships. He wanted only to buy supplies and return to his small freighter. But fate had another plan. From the crowd, a girl stepped forward, small in size but with bold, glowing eyes. Her skin shimmered faintly, like polished stone catching firelight. Her voice carried above the noise, sharp and fearless. "You, human," she said, pointing directly at his chest. "Reveal the strange creature you hide." The human stopped, his brow furrowed. The traders around him grew silent, whispers passing quickly from one to another. He looked at the girl, uncertain if he heard her right. "What creature?" he asked slowly, his voice firm but confused. The girl smirked, her small fangs flashing. "The one that grows twice its size," she said, her tone mixed with curiosity and challenge. The crowd gasped, and laughter rippled. Across the bazaar, aliens leaned closer, some smiling, others waiting with hungry eyes. The human felt heat rise in his chest. He had no idea what she was talking about, but her voice made it sound like a secret everyone should know. He shook his head, ready to move on. But the girl moved faster, blocking his path, her body trembling but her eyes refusing to look away. The human studied her closer now. She was young, but her courage was unusual. He noticed marks on her wrists, faint scars that looked like chains once bound her. Her clothes were simple, too simple for one who spoke with such authority. The silence broke as another alien shouted from the crowd, "Show it, human, prove the legend is true." Others joined, their voices rising, excitement building like fire catching dry leaves. The air grew tense, every eye focused on him. The human clenched his jaw. This was no longer just a girl's question. It had become a demand from the entire market. If he refused, they might turn violent. If he agreed, he had nothing to show. At least, nothing he understood. The girl stepped closer, her voice dropping low but strong enough for him to hear. "I saw it once," she said, her words shaking slightly. "In battle, your kind revealed it, the weapon that lives, the creature that obeys only humans." Her hand almost touched his arm, but she pulled it back, waiting. Her eyes burned with a mix of hope and defiance. The human's mind raced. He remembered a time on another planet, where his weapon had reacted strangely, glowing and shifting as if alive. The memory made his skin crawl. Was that what she meant? Could this alien girl know something about him that he himself did not understand? The crowd pressed closer. There, voices grew louder, demanding, mocking, even laughing. Some shouted wagers, betting on whether the human would fail. The pressure of so many eyes felt like weight on his shoulders. The girl's voice cut through the noise once more. "Reveal it, human, or are you afraid?" she challenged, her chin lifting high. The human's hand drifted toward his side, where his weapon rested, silent and heavy. He hesitated because even touching it might prove her right. His breath slowed, his heart pounded. He looked at her, then at the crowd. He could feel the tension snapping like a cord ready to break. One wrong move and the market would explode into chaos. The girl took one last step, her voice shaking but filled with fire. "I know the truth," she said. "I know it doubles in size, and today everyone will see it." The market froze in that moment. Every sound died, every eye fixed on the human and the alien girl, and he realized there was no escape. The demand had been made, and the choice was now his. The silence of the market did not last long. As soon as the human stayed still, the whispers returned, louder and sharper. The aliens leaned over each other, stretching necks, raising tendrils, clicking mandibles, all desperate to see him better. The girl with glowing eyes stood in front of him, her face set with determination. Her words had already poisoned the air. and now every creature wanted to see if the human was truly hiding a secret. The human felt dozens of eyes burning into him. He could hear their voices, some curious, some mocking, some filled with fear. "Does he really have it?" one alien muttered, its many arms twitching. "I heard humans keep it hidden inside their bodies." Another whispered, "I will bet 10 credits it is nothing but rumor," laughed a third. The air grew thick with tension, but also excitement, like a storm waiting to fall. The human clenched his teeth. He had traveled through hostile worlds before, but this was different. This was not a battlefield, it was a marketplace, and yet the danger here felt even sharper. One wrong move and the crowd could turn into a mob. He thought of turning away, but the girl shifted again, cutting off his escape. Her small body braced like iron. She raised her voice so all could hear. "Do not believe the lies," she shouted, her voice carrying strong. "I saw it with my own eyes. The strange creature responds only to humans. It grows when they command. It becomes unstoppable." The crowd roared with gasps and laughter. Some jeered at the human, others cheered for the girl. The pressure mounted layer after layer, until even the ground seemed to hum with it. The human's hand brushed against his side. The weapon was there, heavy and silent as always, but in the back of his mind the memory of that battle returned. The glow, the strange pulse, the feeling that the weapon was more than metal, more than technology. He shook his head, refusing to believe. But doubt had already taken root in his mind. The girl leaned closer, her eyes locked onto his. "You cannot deny it," she whispered. "Your kind was made for it. I need you to prove it, not for me, but for all who are listening." Her words carried more than curiosity now. There was a plea buried under her challenge, but the crowd did not care for pleas. They cared only for spectacle, for proof, for entertainment. More voices rose. "Show us," they shouted. "Show us or admit you are weak." "Maybe the creature is too small," another mocked, laughter following. "Maybe it is dead, and the human hides his shame." The laughter cut through him like knives, cruel and sharp. The girl frowned at their words, but she did not look away from him. The human stood taller, his chest rising. His silence was making them braver. They pressed closer, their shadows falling over him like waves. Even the merchants who once ignored him now shut their stalls and came forward, eager to witness what might happen. He could smell their excitement, could feel the heat of so many bodies gathering. The girl raised her hand to silence them. Her small form seemed too fragile to command a crowd, yet her voice cracked like lightning. "Quiet," she demanded, and the noise died down for a moment. Her eyes shone brighter, glowing like fire behind glass. "He will show us," she said, with certainty, "because the truth cannot be hidden." The human's throat tightened. Her confidence placed a weight on him heavier than chains. He wanted to shout at her, to tell her she was wrong, but part of him hesitated. Was she wrong, or had she seen something in him that even he had not accepted? The question burned in his chest, and the crowd leaned in, waiting for the answer. The silence broke when a tall, armored alien pushed through, its body covered in scales, its eyes cold and sharp. "If he has such a creature, then prove it here and now," the alien growled. "If not, the human should not walk among us with lies." The crowd cheered at the words, stamping feet, clapping claws, shaking the very floor. The human's pulse raced. There was no way out now, no way to slip into the shadows. He was surrounded, trapped by hundreds of eyes, hundreds of expectations. The girl's face softened for a brief second, just enough for him to see fear behind her fire. Then her jaw tightened again, and she whispered, "Do not be afraid, the truth is with you." The human closed his eyes for a breath. He felt the weapon at his side, silent, waiting. Was it only metal? Or was it the living secret the girl claimed? The crowd chanted louder, demanding, mocking, pushing him to the edge, and as he opened his eyes again, he knew the moment of reveal was near. The chanting shook the air. Dozens of alien voices merged into one rhythm, pounding against the walls of the station like war drums. Show us," they demanded, their cries echoing. The human stood at the center, his body tense, his mind racing. He had faced enemies with weapons drawn, but never a crowd hungry for secrets. The alien girl moved closer, her glowing eyes locked on him. She reached out and grabbed his arm, her small fingers tight and unshaking. Her touch burned, with determination, as if her will alone could force the truth out. "You cannot run now," she whispered. "They will tear you apart if you refuse, but if you reveal it, they will see who you truly are." The human's jaw tightened. His instincts told him to push her away. Yet something in her voice held him still. The crowd pressed closer, their shadows merging into one. He could see teeth, fangs, claws, and tentacles all pointed toward him. Not in attack, but in hunger. Hunger for the truth of the human legend. He drew a slow breath, his hand brushing, the weapon at his side. Cold metal greeted his touch, but beneath that coldness he felt a strange pulse, faint but alive. The girl's lips curved into a sharp smile. "There," she whispered for only him to hear. "It knows you. It waits for you. Prove me right." Her words dug into his chest like hooks, pulling him closer to the choice he wanted to avoid. The human's fingers closed around the weapon, and the crowd erupted in gasps. Every alien leaned forward, their eyes reflecting light, their breaths held. The weapon lifted, its weight familiar, yet different. It hummed faintly, as though recognizing the moment. The human frowned, his grip tightening. For years he had carried it as nothing more than a tool of survival. But now, as the girl claimed, it seemed more. It seemed awake. The laughter of one alien cut through the silence. "Is this the creature?" it mocked. "Just metal and wires, nothing more." But before the words could finish, the weapon shuddered. Blue light seeped from its surface. Faint at first, then brighter. The sound of energy thrummed, deep and alive, like the heartbeat of a beast. The crowd gasped. Some stepped back in fear, others pushed forward in awe. The glow spread, crawling over the weapon like veins of fire. The human's eyes widened. He felt the handle shift under his hand, stretching, growing. The weapon doubled in size, the glow flaring as though the metal had become flesh. The alien girl's smile widened, her eyes blazing. "Do you see?" she shouted, her voice ringing across the bazaar. "I told you it grows. It obeys him. It is alive." The crowd roared, some cheering, some panicking, some falling to their knees. The human's breath caught in his throat, the weight of the weapon now alive in his grasp. It pulsed, each beat syncing with his own heartbeat, as if the two were one. The armored alien who had mocked him earlier stumbled back, its scales rattling. "This is impossible," it hissed, its tail lashing in fear. "Not impossible," the girl countered, her voice cutting like a blade. "Inevitable. Humans were born to carry such creatures. The legend spoke the truth." Her words spread like fire, feeding the frenzy of the crowd. Some shouted that he was chosen, others warned that he was cursed. The human's mind spun. He had not asked for this, had not wanted to be a symbol, but here he stood, the weapon alive in his hands. The girl looked at him not with mockery, but with reverence. "You are the proof my people need," she whispered fiercely. "With you, we can be free." The weapon surged again, a burst of light striking the ceiling. Fragments of glass rained down as aliens screamed and scattered. The sound echoed like thunder, shaking the very ground. The girl stood firm beside him, her face lit with triumph. But the human felt dread because he knew this display had marked him. Already he could see armored guards forcing their way into the bazaar, their weapons raised, their orders clear. Capture the human and the girl. The crowd split, some running for safety, others pushing closer to witness the chaos. The girl gripped his arm tighter, her voice urgent. "You see now, you cannot hide it anymore, and they will not let you leave alive." The human stared at the glowing weapon, its light reflecting in his eyes. For the first time, he felt both fear and power flowing through him together. The girl's words echoed in his mind, the crowd's chant still vibrated in his ears, and as the guards closed in, he knew this was only the beginning of the storm. The bazaar was no longer a market. It was a storm, The glow of the human's weapon still burned in the eyes of every alien who had seen it. Some fled in fear, others whispered with awe, but none would ever forget what they had witnessed. And at the center of the chaos stood the human, his hand tight on the weapon that had doubled in size. Beside him stood the alien girl, her glowing eyes wide with triumph. Guards surged forward, their armor clashing, their weapons aimed. The human braced himself, ready to fight or run. But the girl pulled his arm, dragging him into a narrow passage between the stalls. "Not here," she hissed. "You must come with me. If they catch you now, they will tear you apart and lock the creature away forever." Her grip was small but fierce, her strength more than her size should allow. They pushed through the winding alleys, past broken stalls and frightened traders. The human wanted to demand answers, but the crowd was still close behind. The girl's voice cut through the noise as they ran. "Now you understand. I was not lying. It truly grows. It truly responds to you." The human's chest burned with questions, but there was no time to ask them. At last, she dragged him into a hidden chamber behind the bazaar. The door slid shut, muting the roar of the crowd. Outside, the room was dim, lit only by a single crystal lamp. The girl finally stopped, breathing hard but smiling as though she had won a battle. Her eyes locked on the weapon, still glowing faintly in his hands. "You cannot deny it anymore," she said, her voice trembling with intensity. "The creature is bonded to you. Only humans can make it wake. My people were right. You are the key." The human narrowed his eyes. "You risked my life out there," he said, his voice low. "You turned an entire crowd against me. Why?" Her smile faded, but her obsession burned brighter. "Because you are our only chance," she whispered, stepping closer. Her scars glinted in the light as she lifted her wrists. "Do you see these marks? We are chained, enslaved, broken, but your creature can free us. It will obey you and only you." Her words were sharp, filled with desperation. She reached for the weapon, but the human pulled it back, the glow pulsing as if rejecting her touch. Her eyes widened, and for a moment her obsession deepened into awe. "It knows you. It belongs to you," she breathed. "I cannot touch it. But you were chosen." The human shook his head. "I did not choose this. I am no savior. I just want to survive, nothing more." But her laugh was soft and bitter. "You think you can walk away," she said, her voice sharp. "After what the crowd saw, after what the guards saw, they will hunt you until the stars burn out. You cannot hide anymore. The only path left is forward." Her words struck true, and the human knew it. The weapon's faint hum filled the silence between them, a sound both living and endless. The girl stepped even closer, her eyes blazing. "I will not leave you. I will follow you. I will make you fight for us, even if I must chain myself to you." The human stared at her, shocked by her fierce devotion. She was not asking, she was declaring. Her obsession was more than curiosity, it was survival, desperation, and something deeper. "Why me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because without you we have nothing," she replied. "Because only you can wake the creature, and without it, my people will remain in chains forever." Her words hung heavy in the chamber. The human felt the weight of them pressing on his chest. He wanted to argue, to walk away, to say her fight was not his fight. But the glow in her eyes, the scars on her wrists, and the tremble in her voice chained him as tightly as any bond. For the first time he wondered if fate had dragged him here for a reason. A crash sounded outside the door, voices shouting, weapons clashing. The guards had found them. Their hunt was relentless. The girl's hand shot out, gripping his again. "Now you must choose," she said, her voice shaking but fierce. "You can keep running or you can fight. But know this, without you, we are lost." The weapon pulsed once more, glowing brighter in his hand, as though it too waited for his choice. The pounding on the door grew louder. Metal clashed against metal, voices barked orders, and heavy boots shook the floor. The human gripped the weapon tighter, its glow flickering like a heartbeat. The alien girl pressed herself close to him, her voice sharp and urgent. "They are coming, but you cannot face them blind. You need to know the truth." Her words cut through the noise outside. The human turned to her, frustration burning in his eyes. What truth, he demanded. What is this thing? Why does it respond to me? The girl's gaze softened, but her obsession still burned behind it. You deserve answers, she said. And if I die before speaking them, then everything ends here. She took a trembling breath and lifted her wrists again, showing the scars. My people are called the Saren, she whispered. For generations we were forced into chains. We were made to fight, not for ourselves, but for the masters who rule this sector. Her voice cracked, but she pushed on. They used living weapons, creatures bound by energy, beasts of light and fire, but only one species could truly command them. Humans. The human stiffened, shock running through him. Her words echoed like thunder in his mind. Humans, he repeated slowly. But how? We are no different than you. The girl shook her head fiercely. No, you are different. You are rare. Your blood carries something. Something that awakens the creature. Without you it sleeps. With you, it grows, it obeys. The human looked down at the weapon. Its glow shimmered faintly, almost as if it was listening. His fingers traced the surface, feeling the strange pulse that should not exist in metal. This is alive, he muttered, his voice heavy. The girl nodded quickly, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. My people once believed the humans would save us, she said. Long ago, before the masters hunted your kind down. We waited for one to return, but none came until you. The weight of her words pressed into his chest. He shook his head, trying to fight the storm inside him. I am no savior, he said. I came here for trade, not to fight a war, not to free a people I don't even know. But the girl's hand caught his arm, her grip trembling. Do you think you can walk away now? She asked, her voice fierce. They have seen the creature grow in your hands. They will never stop hunting you. Never stop until they break you. You are marked already, whether you like it or not. The pounding on the door grew louder, cracks forming in the frame. The girl's glowing eyes locked on his, her voice desperate. You can run and hide, but they will still chase you, or you can face them with me and with the truth of what you carry. The silence between them was heavier than the chaos outside. The human's thoughts raced. Memories of his lonely travels, of battles fought only for survival, rose in his mind. He had always lived for himself, never for others. But the scars on her wrists, the fear in her eyes, and the pulse of the weapon in his hands told him this was bigger than his life. This was destiny, even if he refused to name it. The door shuddered, metal breaking. The girl stepped back, her voice dropping low. There is more you must know, she said quickly. The creature will keep growing, its strength tied to your will. But if you fear it, it will consume you. If you trust it, it will protect you. Her words sent a chill through him. The weapon pulsed, glowing brighter as if responding to her explanation. The final lock snapped, the door bursting open with a crash. Armored guards poured into the chamber, weapons raised, eyes glowing with anger. The girl did not flinch, her gaze remained fixed on the human. This is your moment, she whispered. Prove to them you are more than just a man. The human raised the weapon, the hum deepening, the light burning through the shadows. The guards charged, their boots shaking the floor. The girl shouted, Trust it, let it grow. The human's heart pounded as he lifted the weapon higher. It surged in his hands, doubling again, its light filling the chamber. The guards faltered, their courage shaking, as the creature's roar of energy filled the air. In that moment, the human understood. This was not just a tool, not just a weapon. It was a bond. And whether he liked it or not, the bond had chosen him. The girl's voice rose above the chaos. You are the hidden truth. And now, the galaxy will know it. The chamber shook as the creature weapon roared with light. The guards froze for a heartbeat, their eyes wide as the glow filled every corner. The human stood tall, the weapon alive in his grip, its size now monstrous, its hum shaking the walls. The girl's voice cut through the chaos, sharp and fierce. Now you see, it is no myth, it obeys only him. The guards recovered, their fear turning into rage. One shouted, "Capture the human! Kill the girl!" And they charged forward, blades and blasters raised. The human's chest tightened, his instincts screamed to fight, but doubt gnawed at him. Could he control this living power, or would it consume him like she warned? The girl stepped beside him, her small frame unshaken, her eyes blazing. "Trust it," she shouted. "Do not fear it, it is part of you now." Her words struck deep, but the guards were already upon them. The first swung a blade down toward his chest. The human raised the weapon without thinking. A burst of energy erupted, knocking the guard back like a rag doll. The others faltered, but then attacked together. Blades clashed against glowing energy. Sparks flew like fire. The human moved with speed he did not know he had. The weapon guided his arms, each swing heavier, sharper, louder. The crowd outside roared, the sounds of panic mixing with awe. The girl cried out, pointing at the doorway. "More are coming! You must push them back now, or we are lost." The human's heart pounded, his breath harsh. The weapon pulsed in his hands, its glow brighter with every strike. He realized it was feeding on him, on his will, his fear, his determination. Guard lunged, but the weapon stretched, doubling again, its blade now towering. The strike split the ground, sending a wave of light that threw enemies aside. The girl's eyes widened in wonder. "Yes," she shouted, "this is the bond, the strength of a true wielder." But the human felt the weight crushing his body, the power threatening to tear him apart. He staggered, his knees buckling. The glow flared, but his vision blurred. The girl grabbed his arm, shouting into his ear, "Stay with it. Control it. Do not let it own you." Her words were desperate but steady, keeping him from collapsing. The guards regrouped, forming a line, their leader stepping forward. Its armor gleamed black, its voice a low growl. "The masters warned us of this," it hissed. "A human bonded to the creature is a danger to the galaxy. He must die." The human's jaw tightened. For the first time, he understood. They feared him not for what he had done, but for what he could become. The leader raised its weapon, firing a beam of red light. The human swung. The living blade caught the attack, absorbing it. The weapon pulsed, its glow shifting, the energy feeding back into its core. Then with a roar, it unleashed the stolen power, blasting the leader across the chamber. The walls cracked, the ceiling trembled, dust raining down. The crowd outside screamed in terror and awe. Some shouted, the human was chosen. Others cried he was cursed. The bazaar had become a war ground, all because of one man and one strange creature. The girl gripped his arm tighter, her eyes shining with hope. "Do you see now you are not weak, you are not alone, you are the one my people waited for." But the human shook his head, his chest heaving. "I am no savior," he said. "I never asked for this." Her gaze burned into him. "Destiny does not ask," she replied. "It takes. And now it has taken you." Her words struck him deeper than the enemy's weapons. More guards rushed in, the sound of armored boots filling the hall. The girl stepped in front of him, arms spread, defiance in her small frame. "They will not stop, not until you stand with us," she said, her voice trembling but firm. The human stared at her, then at the weapon, its glow softer now, waiting for his will. He felt the choice heavy on his shoulders. Either he let go, and both of them would fall, or he accepted the bond fully, unleashing a power that could no longer be hidden. The girl's whisper reached him in the storm. Show them what it means when a human fights with the creature." And as the guards closed in, the human raised the weapon high, the glow flooding the chamber like sunrise. The chamber burned with light. The human stood at the center, his weapon alive and towering, its glow painting the walls in fire. The guards hesitated at the sight, fear crawling into their ranks, but orders were orders, and they pushed forward. Again, the girl remained at his side, her small hand gripping his arm, her glowing eyes locked on his face. "This is it," she whispered. "Your moment. Your choice." The human's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. His muscles trembled under the weight of the living weapon. Every pulse of its glow matched the beat of his own heart. He could feel its hunger, its desire to be unleashed fully. But he also felt the danger, the truth that if he lost control, it might consume everything. The guards surrounded them in a half-circle, weapons ready. Their leader stepped forward again. Blood, running from its scaled jaw. "Submit, human," it growled. "Give us the creature, and perhaps we will let you live." The crowd outside the chamber grew louder, hundreds of voices chanting, arguing, divided. Some cried for his death, others begged for his victory. The girl's voice rose above them all. "Do not listen to them," she said fiercely. "You are not their prisoner, you are not their toy, you are the one who can break their chains." Her words shook him. He wanted to deny them, to shout that he was no savior, but he could no longer lie to himself. The weapon was proof, the truth was already revealed. The leader raised its blade high, giving the command to strike. The guards rushed forward, their boots shaking the floor, their voices a war cry. The human roared. Lifting the weapon with both hands, it surged with light, doubling once more, its glow blinding. When it struck the ground, a wave of energy erupted, throwing enemies back like leaves in a storm. The chamber shook, dust falling from the ceiling, walls cracking under the force. The crowd outside screamed, some fleeing, others pressing closer in awe. The guards lay scattered, groaning, their weapons shattered by the blast. The leader staggered to its feet, rage burning in its eyes. "This power will destroy you," it hissed. "The masters will come for you, and when they do, you will beg for death." The human's jaw tightened. He stared at the creature in his hands, its glow softer now, calmer, almost waiting for his decision. The girl turned to him, her eyes wet with unshed tears. "You have seen what you can do," she whispered. "But this is more than just survival. This is about my people, about freedom. If you walk away, we are lost forever." Her words carried the weight of 1,000 voices chained in silence. The human's heart wavered. He thought of his old life wandering alone, caring only for himself. A quiet ship, a quiet journey. No chains, no wars, no burdens. But he also thought of her scars, of the crowd's fear, of the truth he now carried. And he knew he could never go back to the man he was before. The leader lunged one last time, its blade aimed for the girl. Without thinking, the human moved, the weapon glowing brighter than ever. It struck, the blast throwing the leader into the wall with bone-breaking force. Silence fell, the chamber echoing with the hum of the living blade. All eyes turned to him, waiting for his choice. The girl dropped to her knees before him, her voice trembling but strong. "You are the one we waited for," she said. "The one who can turn slaves into warriors. The one who can give us back the sky. Will you fight for us, human? Will you claim this destiny?" The chamber held its breath. The crowd outside waiting. Even the weapon seemed still, its glow steady, as if waiting for his answer. The human closed his eyes, his chest heavy with the weight of the galaxy. He opened them again, fire burning in his gaze. His grip tightened on the weapon, its hum rising in response. The crowd gasped, leaning forward. The girl's lips parted, hope shining in her glowing eyes. And the human spoke, his voice strong and unshaking. "I will not run," he said. "I will not hide. If this is my fate, then I choose to fight." The weapon blazed, the light flooding the chamber like dawn. The girl bowed her head, tears slipping down her cheeks, a smile breaking through her fear. The crowd erupted, voices mixing in chaos, some chanting his name, others warning of doom. And above it all, the human stood tall, a warrior bound to a living creature, a man who had made his final choice but far beyond the station. In the dark corners of space, the masters stirred. They had felt the awakening, they had felt the bond, and soon, the true war would begin.